This is going to be the weekly recap from the 6th day of March to the 10th day of March, and this was a painful week. Only one trade ended up working out here. I had a 10% winning percentage rate, and then going along with last week not being so good either, just really threw me off, and I look forward to actually taking this week off. But I will be looking at the markets. I don't really want to trade anything, but it just seems so unfortunate that the timing with the bank runs that have been happening recently is, occurring right when I wanted to take a week off because there might be some really interesting stuff going on in the market. So I might actually look at the markets and maybe I will consider trading something, but I'm going to really hold back. And worst case, maybe I'll even consider this week as a trading week, and then maybe the next one I'll take it off. But I think I'm going to stick with the original idea right now. Maybe nothing really goes on in the markets, but I think something could happen. And yeah, let's just go over this pain, starting with the first trade, which is UNCY. Although I do want to note one thing, 40% of the trades failed in the first 10 minutes. It broke my risk level, and all of them did within the first hour, but somehow 60% of them did eventually hit the goal that I wanted it to do. So that is something very interesting. It means I'm not really picking the best setups because ideally a setup worked so well that even all these hours later in the day, it's still profitable, or it still hasn't broken the original risk level. With that in mind, let's look at UNCY on the 6th. And the 6th day is going to be right here. So the first gap up day, and this one actually did continue to head up higher, which was pretty nice. And let me try to bring this back to the way it was. 6 is going to be way back here. Did not really do very much besides the gap up in the morning. I was in at 932 at 136, and this was a morning dip buy under fake VWAP. So 932. It's going to be right here at 136. As you can see now, VWAP is all the way down here at 124. So what I meant by fake VWAP was that I was using the line that E-Trade had as VWAP, which is not correct, or at least it's the line from the market open, while established, I guess not established, but better platforms like this one with TD Ameritrade calculates VWAP since pre-market, and it's much better. Eventually, E-Trade does correct its VWAP, but in the first, I'd say 30 minutes of the market, it's really off, and I was in it because, it did have the gap up, and then it sold off right here, and I wanted it to do something where it could try to turn around, break maybe this 135 level, and then continue to head higher, and make a nice room move. I mean, yeah, it definitely did it right there, but not when I was trading it. I did get out the same minute at 131, so I'm gonna guess that I got out at 131 and I was in at 136, so I'm gonna guess I got in because it broke 135, and then I'm in at 136, and then maybe I got out because it looks like it was going to break this 128 level, and I got out at 131. Let's just take a look and see if that was the case. Yeah, so it seems like, I got in it for that breakout. It wasn't immediately continuing, so I sold. And I don't fault that too much because something could easily turn around and be very ugly, especially when it's just the second minute since the market opened. It could do like a really big sell-off. And then I did trade it again at a slightly later point at 934. I was in at 134. So right here at 134, I'm going to guess it looked like it was going to break the low and it didn't, but I still sold at 131. And then now that it held on to this level right here officially, and it's been a few more minutes since the market opened, I did get in again with the thing in mind that it could do the thing in the breakouts and uptrend. I did get out 935 at 127. Yeah, this is just unfortunate right here. Really unlucky. It just broke this level 128 just by a penny, and then it was just a stupid wick, and then it came back, and then it worked. So, yeah, a lot of just jaded stuff right now, and this one is another attempt right here at 938. I was in at 938. Wow, I tried this 4 times. Now at 135 and a half. So yeah, really, because I've been through this where I'm in a setup, it has a wick, gets me out, doesn't really break the risk level all that much, and then it turns around and does it. So I was on it, trying again at not one, but at 938. It's not too late at the 9. I should still have some mental capacity left. I did get out the next minute, 939 at 131. This one I didn't trade well. This was one where I got out the next minute at 939, and it was just me being emotional. I tried to get in again, and I should have risked the wick right here, or maybe even this level right here. And when it just looked like it was going to maybe sell off again, I got out. This was not good. The first few trades I think were fine, but this one was not very good. The first one, I don't mind that I got out because it was super speculative, super early in the market open. And then the second one I did well getting out because it broke the day low. And even though it ended up being just a wick, it could have continued to sell off more, but yeah, this one was not good because I didn't stick to my risk level here. This was just me being emotional. And then I did trade this, right? And then this one actually worked. At 940, I got in at 141. And this time, I guess I waited for an actual confirmation that it was going to break above this 135-ish level. Maybe I could have gotten a better entry, but at least I got in with more of a confirmation that it was going to work. Although some can do a very toxic breakout, uptrends, and then it just sells off hard and it breaks the level. I've seen that happen a lot. I got out 945 and my average was 149 and a half, so 945 was this candle right here. And let me see my average again. That was, okay, 149 and a half. So right here was my average. And this ended up being the trade. I finally traded it and it worked out. I even had the right amount of shares too. And that was unfortunately the only trade that worked. Oh, but there is one silver lining here. I did trade this thing. It doesn't show it, but this thing did have a halt. As you can see, it's 940, and then this tick was 945. It broke out the range. I got in at 141, it got halted, and then I sold as soon as the halt ended. And yeah, even though it got higher to the 160s, I don't mind my sell there because that was my first attempt with halts. And then this one, yeah, eventually I think, yeah, it had a halt down. So I'm very happy with the way I traded it, and I'm glad I tried it. I could have avoided the third trade for sure. Otherwise, I think I did well with this one, and it didn't really uptrend all that much, although it does look impressive and all. It wasn't really as much as I've seen others do. Definitely could have avoided this one. I still would have been red, but I did learn from this trade, so I think that's a W. Let's look at VRAX on the 7th. Here it is, another one of these. I'll be honest, if I am going to look at the markets, I'm going to be super interested in stuff like big bank companies and maybe try to dip by those. I was in at 946 at 142, and this was a morning downtrending trendline break. So 946, I guess I'm going to use this line right here. Right here at 946 on 142. So I got in there right here. Yeah, 946 on 142, almost 143 with VRAX. So I waited for a confirmation with this one as well because I do have a downtrending trend line here, but I didn't buy like right here. I bought once it started the uptrend, and I got it at the very bottom right here, roughly at 143. But the idea is that it broke this downtrending trend line, gap up, good news I think, and then it can make a move towards VWAP and break above it. And this one never broke. Yeah, it never broke above VWAP until at least, not until 3 hours passed by, so it didn't really work out. I got out roughly the same price the next minute at 947. I don't really see a reason why, but let's take a look at my notes. I think I just got out because I had maybe an uptrending trend line, which I don't have here. And what happened was is that it just was showing too much topping price action, and it wasn't able to get to VWAP, and that's probably why I got out of it. I'm gonna guess that's the case because I don't see that I said that I traded it wrong or anything. I actually said I traded it well, so I think it just didn't look good with the price action. And I'm gonna guess I had an uptrending trend line and it broke it, so I got out of it for that reason. Let's look at AZUL. I hate this stock, it's so toxic, but I was still on the right track. Let's look at AZUL on the first day, which was the 8th. The 8th is right here. Okay, yeah, very toxic because I wanted it to do this nice multi-day breakout over 705. Didn't work. Did the next day, hesitated on all the setups it offered. And then I traded the day after that, and it didn't do crap. So the 8th is going to be right here. As you can see, it doesn't really move all that much here. And I did trade this thing twice. I was in at 936 at, let's say, $7. This was a multi-day breakout dip buy. So 936 was way back here. 936 was right here at right here, 699, pretty much $7. Why? Well, multi-day breakout in mind, it was already trading above this level pre-market, and then it had a bit of a dip right here. Then it broke it again, $7 multi-day breakout above VWAP, and then it kind of sold off. And you can see there's like a lot of volume right here, so I thought it was something where maybe it's just going to be a very brief downtrend, a wick, and then it wipes out all the sellers and eventually makes a move back above VWAP and continue the uptrend. So I got in it at 936, especially when it was looking like it was going to break above $7 and regain that momentum. I got out at 938 at 691, and that was because it broke, or at least it looked like to me it was going to break the bottom of this wick that I was talking about, which was my risk level. So I got out right here, and I think there's totally nothing wrong with that. And then I did try it again once I saw that it didn't break it at 938. I got in at 693. So again, it looked like it was gonna break it. I got out, and even though it's not the day low, it's pretty much a very important level because it was a wick with a whole lot of volume. It could have easily broken under it and then sold off. As you can see, it kind of did right here. I got in it at 693, again, seeing that it doesn't break it, and then maybe this is going to be when it turns around. I got out the next minute at 690 right here because it actually did break it this time, and it didn't like sell off like crazy. It gave me 3 minutes of pause if I was gonna be dumb and hesitate for some reason. At least I do well cutting losses quickly. I never see something break my risk level and I just kind of sit there frozen like, oh, do I sell? I never do that. And yeah, it did get as low as 676. So let's see what would have happened if I didn't trade this right. And then as a punishment, I got the lowest amount. Yeah, not a very big loss. And that's because it seems like I wasn't trading the right amount of shares to be according to a $20 risk level, which helped in my case because of the fact that, those two trades didn't work out. I did trade the right amount of shares. The next trading day, which was on the 10th, unfortunately, because that didn't work either. Let's look at BBIO, which actually did work out, but I didn't trade this well. Yeah, I did not trade this well. Let's look at BBIO on the 8th. And again, this is when I was starting to get pretty jaded with all of these setups failing. And the 8th is going to be right here. I was in at 1006, 1599, and this was a reversal long, round number, support, and also a trend line break. Yeah, let me add trend line break, reversal long, trend line break. Actually, no, this was not a trend line break. Let's just go over it. 1006 at 1599. I remember this now. So, yeah, very big sell-off and everything, but it just seems like it was going to be one of those type of things that might do some kind of a turnaround. Obviously, this looks like a short seller's dream if it just breaks this level, but it just didn't seem like the kind of thing that would just sell all the way back down. Well, I guess it did later. Yeah, not necessarily the day I traded it. I saw this downtrending trend line and it was selling off slowly in the morning. And then I did have an interest in it once again at 10:06 at 16 because right here at 16 because it looked like, this is just gradual selling off, selling off, selling off. But then once we got to this point right here, you can see the volume started to come back. And it was trading around a nice round number of $16. So I saw the uptrending volume. I saw the trading around $16. And for that reason, I did take an interest in it, even though it didn't break the trend line. This is why I didn't include it as a trend line break, now that I remember it. I got out of this one the next minute at 15.98, and I was just jaded. This was like that third trade with AZUL that I didn't do right, where I just felt emotional and just got out of it. And then this one actually worked out, at least briefly. It got as high as 16.30, and then it sold off one more time right here, but it was no longer under the downtrending trend line. And then this one didn't really turn around all that nicely, actually. It never got to VWAP until 2 p.m., which is super uncommon for something like that to work, but it never really broke the day low from that point right here, being the bottom 1550. So that is one thing to take into consideration for a turnaround over a longer period of time from 1550 as high as 16.8, which was above VWAP. Yeah, I just got jaded. My risk level should have been the bottom right here, 1576, and then I would have sold if it were to have broken under it. But it actually worked out, and I got some, super whatever, just not in the best mindset, and I got out and it worked. Let's see what it sell at 1630, which would have been about best case scenario. Yeah, $7, and I would have brought it so much closer to break even, despite the fact that I had all these freaking L's this week. Pretty unfortunate. And then I did miss out on AZUL when it finally did do the breakouts, and I don't know if I have it. I think I'm gonna try to find it, just to go over how painful it was, because AZUL eventually did do the multi-day breakout. Let me just get to the 10th while I'm at it, since I'm gonna go over the last two trades with that. You can see AZUL on the 10th did, sell off, but on the 9th, which is the day I was talking about, it did all of these nice setups, and I just missed out on them. And I do have a folder where I just keep track of the trades I missed out on, just so I can look back at it and kind of put it to memory so I don't hesitate as much. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, right here. Look at all these setups that happened on the nice multi-day breakout above $7.05. There was one here where this was like a bull flag, or maybe the high and day breakout and then a sell. I'm not extremely sure why I had a sell right here. I'm gonna guess is because it looks like it would have broken this uptrending trend line right here. So maybe a sell actually right here would have been fine. And then it had like another bull flag that I could have bought into, and then a sell once it kind of broke the day high and then wasn't following the uptrending trend line I would have drawn in theory anymore, and that would have been a sell. And then another potential buy when it broke the day high again, and then a sell when this uptrending trend line failed and it opened above, not above but past it, and then another high day breakout setup right here, and then an ultimate sell using this trend line when it opened its first candle past the uptrending trend line. And then I was even considering this for a short setup as well, and then that would have been a nice cover either into this downtrending trend line breakout. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a yellow line right here, or a cover at VWAP. Crazy the amount of setups I missed out on that day right there. Let's look at 940, 773, morning panic, trendline break. 940 was right here. Oh, actually, this is the 9th. I was like, that doesn't make sense. This is the 10th day right here. Just zoom in right here some. Okay. Yeah, 940, and then I was in at, what was it, 773, yeah. Let me zoom in some more. Right here at 940, 773, I got out, so not got out, so I got in once this thing was selling off, and then it opened its first candle past the downtrending trend line, and my risk was the bottom, the day low, and I got out because, as you can see, it kind of broke it pretty quickly at 765 and a half. I got out when it broke the level right here, and yeah, it just didn't work out. Not the best setup, honestly. It wasn't like a slow downtrending trend line like BBIO. This was a bit sharper, and considering how much of a really nice uptrend it did, it could have continued to sell off if it was just a short squeeze. And then the last trade, 942, same setup, now at 761 and a half. So the idea was is that it opened past the downtrending trend line. It kind of broke the day low. I sold, and then once it kind of started to consolidate right here, no longer regaining itself under the downtrending trend line or following it, just being outside of it like it was with these two candles. I did get in with that thing in mind that it could turn around. Again, at 942 at 761, which was right here, 761 and a half, I think. Yeah. And then I got out 946. My average was 759. I did sell some while it was kind of working, but I did sell when it broke the range right here, the majority of the position, and it was a scratch. I didn't lose that much right here. It's like half a percent. And then, you know, if it were to have worked out, I mean, if it could have gone to VWAP, let's see what a sell at 8 would have been, which would have been best case scenario. Yeah, 19 bucks. Actually would have left me green on the week. So yeah, that's the case. I just feel really jaded. A lot of setups didn't work out. And then a lot of setups that I hesitated on, or like with BBIO, just kind of shaken out of, worked out. And yeah, I'll just give it a week off. I'm not going to never come back. That would be super rare unless something super amazing happens or I'm in heaven, a freaking better place. I'm gonna come back, but I might end up trading something. Who knows? But I'm gonna be really hesitant on it. I'll be looking at like the overall big stuff going on and maybe consider trading those things. But for now, that's it for this weekly recap right here. I do want to look forward to the week off, unless you know things are looking super crazy in the markets, and I have to make an exception and push back the pause. Otherwise, yeah, that's it. Ideally, I'm not this unlucky anymore. Clearly a proof that I'm not going to make it without God's blessing, because I'm always going to have jadedness and bad luck on my own. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Better to be like that than to, you know, make it all on my own and then blow up because I'm super prideful or something. That's it for this recap.